Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
We are filling out for our paperwork for our inheritance for our children. We're going through all that process right now. We have 3 kids, 2 baby boys under 2 and 1 daughter from my previous marriage, and she's 24. And we like how you put stipulations, and we've heard you say before in your will that you have they have to live a certain way and be a certain way. We're God-fearing Christians, so we want to make sure, like, my wife thinks one way, I think the other, so we need a tiebreaker, or we need some wisdom on that. So we want to make sure she's living according to the Bible and doing the things that we expect her to. And my wife says if she's not there doing that yet when we should pass, should we still give her or we shouldn't give her the inheritance? And I'm like, well, maybe we should give her a chance to get to there, and then she could have part of the inheritance, and that would go for even our boys. So we're just like torn on how we should handle that.
Yeah. Okay. You have the information correct. You have the spirit wrong behind what we did. Okay.
Okay.
What we did was not a punishment thing. It was not a carrot or a stick thing. It was simply, we back up and we told our kids from the time they were adults on that for Sharon and I, as for me and my house, we serve the Lord. And so we view our assets as God's. They're not ours. Our job is to manage his stuff, his way, for him. So the kids have no rights. And what we explained to them was if they inherit something, all they're inheriting is the right to manage it. They don't become the owner any more than I'm the owner. And so this is, and so you wouldn't hire someone to manage a Burger King who has proven to not follow the Burger King manual. Right?
Correct.
Because the man that owns the Burger King would be pissed because you end up with a McDonald's burger over there or something, right? And so, and it's his money and him that I'm concerned about, and they don't have any legal or spiritual or moral rights to or entitlement to our wealth at all. And when they do inherit it, all they inherit is the weight of it and not the privilege of it. You actually get the privilege, but if you view it properly, it's a responsibility rather than I hit the lotto. You follow me? And so it's not like, if you don't behave, I'm going to take it away from you. That it's not got any of that in it at all. But it's got to be, okay. The other thing that I'll add to that is this, and it's hard for me because at times, especially with people I love, I'm extremely loyal, is that if someone's misbehaving and you give them money, you magnify their misbehavior.
Absolutely.
An extreme situation is if you've got a kid doing heroin and you leave them $1 million, you're going to kill them because they'll overdose. Because they've got unlimited resources to buy weed and heroin, right?
Yes.
And so you magnify their problem. You don't help it by throwing money on it, whatever the problem is. So I don't know what her behavior is that you're so concerned about or your wife's so concerned about. But let's back up and just view this from a manager or a stewardship perspective. And that's the way I would talk to her about it. I would say, honey, I love you. And, you and I can have a discussion about your behavior between father and daughter. But I also need to tell you, I can't, in good conscience, leave you managing God's stuff when you're not following God. I have to report. I have to report back to him, and so I can't do that as a moral act on my part. And that's different than I'm going to hit you with a stick until you get in line. You're out of the will. You're out of the will until you quit doing that stuff. That's different spirit. Okay. You follow me?
Yes, that's correct.
And if you want, if this is Deloney, if you want to make sure there is never any complete reconciliation between you and your daughter, who sounds like she went through some sort of divorce growing up, something like that?
Yes, a pretty rough divorce, and my ex kept her away from me for 6 years, so still kind of estranged. But she's taken steps to follow in God, so she calls me with advice. I guide her. She got saved maybe a year ago, so I just want to make sure we do this correctly, and we don't want to stunt her in any
Well,
way.
here's what I want you to be careful
I'm
of.
telling stepmother not to use this as a carrot and a stick.
There you go.
Okay.
And man, I know y'all are both on the phone here, so I'm going to say this directly as I can. It's very common that when somebody gets remarried, that other kid from that other woman, that other kid from that other man, they're not getting my stuff. And so the red flag for me in this call was not living by the Bible. I want you guys to be real clear. You can go to 500 different churches and get 500 different interpretations. What does that actually mean when you sit down across the table from your daughter and say, I'm worried about you?
I love you.
Here's how we can best love you. If you keep, because you're going to...
I'm proud of the steps you've made.
That's right.
In your spiritual walk. You still got a couple steps to take to get back, just to get this side of the ditch.
That's right.
You're out of the, you're out of the ditch, but we want to get you over here up in the road again, and I'm gonna walk with you and love you, and if you want to draw your will up one way or another, but I hesitate to. And here's the other thing: when someone says living by the Bible, when we say that at Ramsey's, it's a very broad thing. It's not every nuanced little, oh, you ate a shrimp.
Exactly.
Because it says in Leviticus not to eat shelled animals, right? But, we don't have to follow the Old Testament. Now we got to get into orthodoxy and, did Christ cancel out that, or did he fulfill it? And, oh, my goodness, great. We got a doctrinal argument here, ad infinitum. I'm talking about the big stuff.
Right.
Okay?
And you've got some...
if you're doing cocaine on the back of a yacht, you're probably not following the Bible, okay? So you're out, okay? Right. But if you went to a different church that has musical instruments and John's church doesn't,
correct,
then it's probably okay.
That's exactly right. And here's the thing. If you want to drive a wedge between you and your adult children, try to control their adult behavior with the threat of, well, then I'll just take you out of the will. It won't work. You will lose your children. Don't do that.
Won't work.
Don't do that.
I will say, even though ours would be moved out, it's actually an element of a trust. There is steps for the brother and sister that are remaining after Sharon and I are gone to walk that person back in.
That's right.
As they straighten up their lives.
Right.
So this is not this constant.
It's not a stick.
It's not a stick. We're constantly hitting somebody with our wealth, trying to get them to behave, and they're 37 years old and actually have a brain. No, that's not what we're doing. In her case, she's 24. But yeah, it's not what we're doing. So that's. But you have to balance that, juxtapose that, if you will, with this idea that it's not mine to start with and I'm managing it for him. This is The Ramsey Show. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.